I know at that point that it's gonna be, it's life. I'm gonna be fighting for my life.
He says, say your prayers. And I say my prayers as he takes out a knife and he begins to cut my throat over and over again.
And he just kept tugging, kept ripping, and then finally it was off, right? He had removed my scalp.
I remember thinking, I'm not going like this. I'm not going like this.
You're out in the wilderness. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You have the birds. You have the wind whistling through the trees. You're remote.
When we fly into a remote area, we make sure we have a radio and bear mace. The bear mace we carry with us, it comes with a safety clip on it. But to ensure that safety clip doesn't come off and the mace accidentally goes off in the back, we tie the safety clip on with a heavy-duty flagging tape.
We heard it was like a deep wolf or bark or a huff, and it's the depth of the sound that was so unfamiliar to me at the time. And this idea, well, this is probably a bear, and it's close to us.
When we first heard it, it wasn't anything that we were really concerned about because I'd heard it before. We did realize that it was moving towards us.
The plan that we thought, first of all, was, let them not think that we're a bear as well and not be territorial. So the idea was to kind of yell out, let them know where we are, back out of the area, and kind of get to a safe distance. And we kind of gave a couple short yells. The bear just started coming, and you could hear the crunching through the brush. And, it was a scary thought because you couldn't see it.
We at that time decided to take our bear mace out of our vests and put it in the inside pocket. Grizzlies aren't known to, or generally not known to climb trees, especially the larger bears, just because of their mass and their size and the configuration of their claws. They don't have a retractable claws like a cat, like a black bear does.
The first tree that I picked, and this was probably, fighting those feelings of panic and stuff, probably wasn't the best choice. I picked a smaller tree, smaller branches, and when trying to climb up it, the branches actually just kept breaking under my weight.
When I got to the base of my tree, I took off my vest, and I'd left the vest at the bottom of the tree. I think that this is something that would, the bear might be interested in, and that would be all he would be interested in, and not come after you. The bear come out of the brush, and we could see it at this point, and it's like, oh man, it's a grizzly. There's nothing in between. There's no cage. There's no bars. You're there. You're alone. You're out there, in its territory, in its elements, and you don't know what it's going to do.
When I saw the bear and he breaks through the brush, that's one of the images that's imprinted in my mind. I knew at that point that I couldn't get up the tree high enough or fast enough. And right at that moment, there is a complete feeling of panic. I have a hard time with that. because I know I'm in trouble. I know at that point that it's gonna be, it's life. I'm gonna be fighting for my life.
My mother was a heavy drinker and she abused drugs, and so she went out a lot. And she had a lot of male friends in and out of the house. My sister and my brother are my world, and because of who my mother was, I felt like I was the mother in this family. When I was 7 years old, my mother had met this man named Ray. Ray had scraggly hair, beard. He's kind of hunched over. He was, out of shape. And I would say that at least half of the places and things that we did with him, I was molested by him. It was, a secret between him and I, he had said, and that if I had told anybody, that he would kill my family. September 21st, it was a school night, and my sister and I had a bedtime of 8 o'clock. And so my brother was already asleep. He had his own room. My sister and I had shared a room. In the middle of the night, I woke up, and all of a sudden I was being carried throughout the apartment. And I looked up, I saw that it was Ray, and I saw the clock, and it was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. And I asked him where we were going, and he had said, "We're going to see your mother." He stops the car and he goes to the back of the car, to the trunk, grabs a couple things, and then opens up the back door to where Sarah is and starts to tie her up. He ties her hands up and her legs up. And at that point, we started to cry. He got back into his car and drove down the dirt road a little bit more. He pulls me out of the car and brings me back to the trunk and changes into a pair of white shorts. At that time, he asks me to take off my pants and then tells me to do horrible things that no child should ever have to experience to him. And then he places me on the trunk and starts to rape me.
I'll never forget the image of the bear when he does come out of the brush. But it's at that time where you decide, are you gonna fight it, or are you gonna, because you're not gonna get up high enough fast enough, and so you gotta fight it. You gotta try to fight it. So the decision I made was to jump out of the tree with my mace in hand and basically fight the bear off with the bear mace. You're sitting there and you're fumbling with the trigger, and the bear is on his haunches, ears back, jaws snapping. And at that point that you're in trouble. You're in real trouble.
I could see him fumbling with the cap, and my thoughts were like, mace it. And I remember saying, like, mace it, Louie, mace it. And it proceeded to come at him, and he backed up, still trying. I'm not understanding why he's not macing this bear.
I think at that point, when he was sitting just 3 feet from me and ears back, and he was sizing me up, he didn't really know, I think, how to proceed either. All of a sudden, the bear stood up on his haunches, or on his hind legs. It's towering over you. It's not like it's, eye level. You're looking up. It's huge. The bear is, kind of growling, and the sound, it almost like reverberates. You can hear it to your core, and it's a growling, and it's deep, so deep. And just took his paws nice and flat like this, and just like a person would, just pushed me. And I basically fall, down the slope. And when the bear saw me fall and kind of go down, I think at that point it turned not to, what is this? What's going on? It right at that point it turned predatory. And now it actually saw me as a food source.
I'm screaming in pain. I am crying. It hurts so bad. And he tells me that I need to shut up or he's gonna cut my throat. I asked Ray when he was raping me if he was done yet. Asked him, when is it gonna be over? And he would just tell me soon. It was a very short, and the answers weren't anything that was satisfying. All I know is that the pain had gone away, and so at that point I was just waiting for it to be over with. Soon after what felt like hours, I didn't feel anything anymore, and I felt numb. And all of a sudden, we see headlights come down the dirt road. And he tells me to hurry up and get into the car and to keep our heads down while he goes and talks to this person in this truck. I didn't think anything of it to scream or make noise or honk the horn because Ray had already threatened that if we weren't good, we weren't going to see our mother. And so I know we tried to listen and do whatever we had to do to get out of there.
What do you do? What do you do? I make the decision to curl up into a ball, put my hands in behind my neck, trying to protect my vital organs. And he just swatted me. And, I've never been hit like that. It was being like hit by a truck. He almost took off my left arm. Like, that's how intense of a contact it was.
It was almost a feeling of helplessness at that point, because I realized that if I got down and without any kind of ability to do anything, that we would both be mauled. And it proceeded to attack Louie very aggressively.
His mouth was totally wrapped in my inside thigh. And at that point, I have this bear, and now I'm trying to fight him off, and I have the bear by the ears trying to rip off this grip that he has on my leg. You come to this understanding that this creature is too powerful, and he picks me up over his head, and then when he goes to slam me down, he takes his paw and sweeps my left leg, the one that I've been hopping on, takes my left leg and just sweeps it from underneath me and sticks me to the ground.
And Louie's not a small man. It picked him up quite easily and threw him on the ground and proceeded to maul him.
He bites into my left hamstring, all the muscle, the tissue, and he's pulling it up through my jeans and right out. And you'd think at that moment that, yeah, this would be extremely painful. But your body's an amazing system, because the pain receptors are basically just shut right off. He moves from my hamstring and he moves up towards my head. He basically bites into my neck, and I lose the tip of a finger. He breaks my left hand, and he bites onto my skull.
I could hear ripping. It was an awful sound, wet, tearing, like wet burlap being shredded. And I remember hearing that. And Louie was still screaming.
And he just kept tugging, kept ripping, and then finally it was off, right? He had removed my scalp, and I was up in a kind of a seal position, and when it came off, I kind of slammed back down to the ground.
Louie was still screaming to a point, and then he did become quiet.
You come to this place, and at that point you might not make it out of this. You watch programs on TV, and there's that, those wildlife programs, and you can see the zebra, the wildebeest, whatever it is. And there's a point there where you see this animal fighting for life, fighting, trying to get away, fighting. And then there's a moment where all of a sudden it just relaxes. It's not in control of its own fate. It's controlled by other things. And a very similar feeling at that point. This piece is out of my control. I can't control my fate at this point.
Ray White tied Sarah up because he knew that if there was a chance that we could run, we would. I wasn't tied up because it wasn't necessary. I wouldn't leave Sarah behind. I was hoping that man noticed the blood on Ray White's shorts and knew that something was wrong and called the police, even if, he didn't come up to the car to see that there were two little girls in the car. And he talks to this person and says, I'm just having car trouble, we're all set. And the man in the truck takes off. Ray gets back into the car and drives further down the dirt road and then stops. It's then he just opens up the front door and starts raping me again. Sarah sees what he's doing and asks, why are you doing this? What is he doing to you? And, crying. And I told her, it's okay, Sarah, it's almost over. Day broke, and he tells me to put my pants back on and to stand outside his car. And he goes and picks up Sarah because she's still tied up. And he carries her right behind me and tells me to walk into the woods. He tells me to stop where there's this big tree in a cleared area. And he sets my sister down on the side of the tree, and I stand in front and face him. And he says, say your prayers. And I say my prayers as he takes out a knife and he begins to cut my throat over and over again.
I continued to yell, and I continued to try to make noise to get the bear away from him, to attract it to myself.
When the bear has removed my scalp, it seems it realizes that maybe my own energy is kind of diminished, and things start to slow down.
And that's when the bear started to pay attention to me. It looked at me. It left Louie's body. He was laying there on his stomach, or face down, and it went over to the other side of him and started scratching at the dirt and pushing dirt and some debris and sticks over top of him.
The bear at that point defecates on me and marks me as his territory, and basically says I'm his food supply now.
And then it ran over to the base of my tree. I saw the bear's face was just blood. It was red with blood. It was a very sickening feeling to see that, how much blood was on this bear's face thing, and I knew the attack on Louie was pretty bad. When I got to about 20 feet off the ground, or 25 feet, that's when the bear grabbed onto the tree and started to climb up behind me. I couldn't believe it. Like, here it comes. It's coming up the tree. And I didn't have bear mace or anything. There was nothing that had prepared me for the fact that this bear would be able to climb this tree. I can hear him coming up the tree coming up the tree below me, and I hear branches snapping. I hear, and I look down at the time, and I actually see him biting at some of the branches to break them off so that he could get through. It grabbed me by the heel of the boot. I had both arms wrapped around the tree and walked in. He had a hold of my foot and a hold of my boot, and he let go. He was basically dangling from the tree on my foot. And I was carrying the full weight of him on my arms, trying to hold myself in that tree. So I was wearing 2 long-sleeve shirts, and both of them started to separate at the shoulders. I was holding on so tight. And I realized right away that there was no way I could hold on, that I could not carry the weight of this bear, and I was going down. Everything changed at that point from fear to, I'd say, anger. And I thought about my young son who he wasn't a year old. I remember thinking, I'm not going like this. I'm not going like this.
I touch my neck. I see the blood, and I drop down. I close my eyes, and I just think to myself, I have to play dead, otherwise he's gonna come back and kill me indefinitely. I hear Sarah screaming and crying because I know she just saw what happened, and I couldn't do anything except for lay there and play dead. I felt the vibrations of the ground, of her kicking, and hearing her screaming and crying, but all of a sudden it stopped. And I felt him jump over me, and I hear him run out of the woods, and then I hear his car take off. It was then I got up and knew that I was safe to go check up on Sarah. And I look at her, and I call out her name over and over again, but I know that she's not going to answer me. The look of her, she wasn't gonna answer me back. And I was gonna have to leave her and walk out those woods without her. So I'm walking out towards the dirt road with one hand on my throat. At that point, I felt so numb that all I could think about is getting help for Sarah and I. I was so stunned by what had just happened that just tears were rolling down my cheeks, and just holding my hand up to stop the blood and get help was all that I was feeling and that I could do.
We were a long ways up, like 30, 40 feet. I don't remember falling. I don't know whether I landed on the bear. Didn't break a bone. The bear was standing there facing me. wasn't approaching me. I ran over to the base of my tree where my mace was, and I pulled the mace out of my pocket. I had to tear that off, and I think I actually bit the vinyl tape off with my teeth because it's very hard to pull off. And I turned around, the bear had started to walk towards me, and I waited till the bear got within 5 or 6 feet, and I sprayed it. It didn't like it, immediately turned away, and I ran back over to the tree and started to climb it again. And I got up, I'd say 10 or 15 feet up the tree, and it ran back over to the base of the tree and proceeded to come up after me again.
I can't see anything because my face is in the dirt. I can't really move, but I can hear things. I knew at that point that Wade was in a fight for his life. And in effect, he was in a fight for our lives.
I didn't climb any further. I stayed there and I waited for it. It tried to grab my feet again, and when it did, I pulled my foot up, and as its mouth opened to bite me, I put my hand right down basically into its mouth and sprayed the mace can in its nose and mouth directly, and the bear dropped. And it didn't move. It really struggled to get a breath, and it would take a deep breath. Eventually, it did manage to get up, and the bear started to walk off basically back the way it had come. I then realized how badly or severely he'd been mauled. There was a immediate sense of, you know, how did he survive this? He couldn't walk, he couldn't get up, he was incapacitated. I did what I could to comfort him at that time, that brief time. I made sure he was okay, he was stable, he was talking to me. I went back and got the radio and went up the tree to call for help. The area we were in was it just happened that we had reception there. It wasn't like you had reception everywhere in the valley. This was just one of those places, and was lucky. And I got a hold of an operator. There was a conversation going on, but I didn't know if I was cutting into it or not. I just keyed the mic and I said, "I have an emergency, I need help."
I was covered in blood. My pants from being raped were covered in blood, and my neck was bleeding profusely. All of a sudden, I see a blue truck pass from the dirt road, and I'm waving it, trying to wave it down. And, you know, thankfully, it stopped. And I walked up to it, and it was a couple. They didn't know what fell into their hands, except for knowing that they needed to get me help. Immediately, I told them that Ray killed my sister. And they said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." And they immediately got a sweater for the bleeding of my neck, and rushed me to this nearby store. All I could think about is that Ray Wyke is somewhere waiting to, the next, little girl that he could take advantage of, and I wanted to make sure that was stopped. The next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in the hospital. I was getting everything cut off of me. There was so many nurses surrounding me in this big room, and they were throwing all my clothes into paper bags. I woke up from surgery in a hospital room with a window, remembering my nightmares, that I thought Ray was gonna jump through the hospital window because I survived. It took a lot of counseling and a lot of time for me to be able to feel totally safe. Even when Ray was in prison, he wrote me a 15-page disgusting, threatening letter. So he sent this to his family from prison to Pennsylvania, and from Pennsylvania, they sent it to me in New York. It included threats like, no matter where you go, I'll find you, you can't hide, yet I'm still innocent. You know that, I didn't do this. A family member found out that he had died from lung cancer. That was kind of a mixed emotion. It was, the justice in that was kind of weak. But at the same time, I was like, well, he can no longer, hurt us. I love my job. I love the fact that I am able to put the handcuffs on the monsters out there, just like Ray White. I survived because I wanted to make sure that my sister was not murdered in vain, and that the man who did this to her was going to be held responsible. She was my strength, and she is my guardian angel, and by the grace of God, I survived because I wanted to make sure that that man, that monster, never hurt anybody else again.
I could hear Louie making noises over there, like moans and stuff. He told me he quit. And I thought, Louie, don't quit. Like, don't give up.
He's being comforting, and he's like, don't quit, give it everything you got, stay with us. And I'm like, no, I quit. I'm not working anymore.
And at that point, I was like, okay, I understood he was actually with it. He wasn't dead. He was communicating. That was a huge sigh of relief at that point.
But there's still a sense of danger, of course, because I'm still on the ground. The bear is still in the area.
You can hear things. There's sounds in the bush. Every one of those minute sounds was the sound of a bear coming back.
You know, you're talking about an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half. And that's a long time to be lying there immobile, not be able to move. And, you know, after that time and listening to that silence and all of a sudden hearing that whomp whomp of the helicopter coming in, you know, just the happiness. You knew at that point that we were going to be saved. Our pickup time for the helicopter was 4:30 in the afternoon. And this incident happened at 11:30. If I'm to be honest with myself, I know that if we were to wait till the pickup time, I wouldn't be here today. So having that radio, it was a lifeline for sure.
I survived because of thinking of my young son when at a critical point in the attack. Just to think that I'm not going to go like this. It changed the way I thought. It turned from fear to the anger I felt, and it enabled me, or my body, my mind, to make the necessary decisions to protect us.
I survived, I guess, first because of my determination to get through this situation. Not to give up on myself. And the hope of coming out. The hope of living through it. I survived because of Wade.
They'd met as teens, but were in it for the long haul.
Hey, miss, do you need some help?
They were together for a long time.
They were building a life together.
They had their children, the picket fence, that fairy tale life.
Until a brutal attack tore it all apart.
She's got a stab wound to the middle chest. She had scratches. She had bruises.
Stay ready.
It was quite a struggle.
The investigation suggests a love triangle gone wrong.
Do you think she's dating anybody else?
It's possible.
There have been rumors.
But is it her longtime boyfriend?
There was some jealous anger there.
Things have not been great between them.
Was it the new man in her life?
He recently got out of jail.
They were together that day.
She told him that she was done.
Or was it even more complicated than detectives imagined?
DNA was found under her fingernails.
Someone they never heard of.
I'm trying to give you an opportunity to explain.
What are you doing?
June 11th, 2016. It's a few hours before sunrise in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a blue-collar city of 600,000.
It was a manufacturing city for many, many years. A lot of breweries and a lot of factories.
It's sort of a small Chicago. It grew out of German and Polish roots.
After the war, a lot of African Americans came here looking for better opportunities.
But like a lot of the Rust Belt, those opportunities eventually faded.
Once the manufacturing left, many people who had skills could not find work.
Crime was and continues to be a problem in the city of Milwaukee.
Our homicides have increased. Our shootings have increased. Stabbings. It actually got the nickname Killwaukee.
And just after 4 o'clock that morning, the city's reputation hits too close to home for Antonio Sharp.
Stay right here, stay right here.
Antonio calls 911 and reports that his friend, Danielle, has been stabbed.
It's bad, real bad.
Antonio was panicked. He is, at that moment, trying to prevent her from bleeding out.
Put pressure on that. I don't know. D.
It was a pretty bad scene right from the get-go.
Son, come on.
We're using the towel to try to stop the bleeding from the chest.
Stay with me, D. Put pressure on that. Stay with me.
They just try to do whatever they can to keep her alive.
But time is running out.
She's lost a tremendous amount of blood.
Please hurry. Please.
26-year-old Alexandria Danielle Taylor lived every day to the fullest.
She was a fun-loving person who loved life.
She had amazing friends, very full life.
But it hadn't always been easy.
Danielle's teenage years were full of drama.
Danielle had a rebellious streak. She got into it with her mom often.
She was in and out of the house. Unfortunately, she was couch surfing.
It was while she was between places that the teen met Rick Ramsey.
Danielle was about 15 when she met Rick.
Hey, miss.
He was about 19 at the time.
You need some help?
And he'd experienced hardship in his youth as well.
His parents were addicts, and he had been in foster care.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Are you sure? You shouldn't be out here so late.
I don't have anywhere to go tonight.
Rick offered her a place to crash.
To Danielle, his chivalry was attractive.
No problem.
They formed a relationship, and eventually they become an official couple.
She was enamored by the fact that he was more mature than she was.
It's typically appealing for young girls to date older men because of their status and because of how mature they are and the stability that they might have.
And a steady relationship with Danielle was equally good for Rick.
Danielle encouraged him to get off the streets and find a job.
She was probably a little more mature than most of the girls her age.
And with Danielle's encouragement, Rick put his days on the streets behind him.
They also started a family.
In 2008, they welcomed their first daughter. And then 6 years later, they had another child.
And by 2016, it looked as if this young couple had built a beautiful life together.
They had been together for 11 years.
They really felt like they had it all.
There was a lot of love there. They were hoping that they would have an opportunity to grow old together.
But now those hopes appear to be in mortal danger.
Her friend Antonio calls 911 and reports that she has been stabbed.
There's blood everywhere.
It's a chaotic scene. Someone is literally dying while you're awaiting what seems like a very long time for the police to arrive.
When first responders arrive, they find Antonio and his sister still holding pressure to Danielle's wound.
They're desperately trying to save her.
As first responders take over, an officer arranges for Antonio and his sister to be transported down to the station.
That way they can get their formal statement on what exactly happened.
Because the police are now investigating a homicide.
After a few moments of trying to revive Danielle, the EMTs pronounced her dead at the scene.
The young lady happened to be past medical attention.
But as first responders exit to make way for detectives, a car comes barreling down the street.
This car comes to a quick screech and stop.
Whoa. She's not supposed to be here. Hey, hold on. Where's Danielle? Hold on. Where is she? Hey, where is she?
He's trying his best to barge his way past the cops.
He's crossing the do not cross tape line, running through towards the residence where the victim is still lying.
The man is Danielle's boyfriend, Rick Ramsey.
He is belligerent, he's upset, he's not responding to officers' commands to calm down, to stay out of the crime scene.
The officer has to physically restrain him.
And he says that she is not supposed to be here.
She's not supposed to be here.
26-year-old Danielle Taylor was happily raising 2 daughters with her longtime boyfriend, Rick Ramsey.
They had been together for 11 years and had a happy home, the picket fence, that fairy tale life.
But now, EMTs have just pronounced Danielle dead inside her friend Antonio Sharp's home.
Soon after, a car screeches up to the scene. Danielle's boyfriend, Rick, jumps out of the car and crosses the crime scene tape.
Where's Danielle? Hold on. Where is she?
The officer has to physically restrain him from continuing to try to push by.
Where's Danielle?
But Rick is still screaming, yelling, refusing to calm down.
Come on.
Eventually, Rick is placed under arrest for disorderly conduct.
Go ahead and get him down to the station.
I figured the best thing to do was take him into custody, get him in the car, and get him away from the scene to get things calmed down.
I need to see my girl.
While Rick is taken to the station, detectives turn their attention to the crime scene.
Outside of the house, there are 2 large pools of blood, but no distinct trail that would lead the police to believe whatever happened to her likely happened at the house.
Near the blood pools, they see a single earring, as well as a woman's wig and a wallet. The wallet contains Danielle's ID and her credit cards.
Not far away, detectives find a broken blade from a knife.
On the knife, there is inscribed stainless and china, which leads the police to believe that it is part of a kitchen set.
Then the detectives head inside the home.
The victim is on the living room floor. She's got a stab wound to the middle chest. She's got a stab wound to her left temple.
Since the killer left Danielle's wallet on the ground outside, detectives suspect they're dealing with a crime of passion.
This wasn't just someone stabbing her, taking her purse, and running away. This was somebody who took some time to inflict some pain.
She had scratches, she had a black eye, she had bruises up and down her body.
She has a tear to her earlobe, like an earring was torn from it.
Looking at all of the circumstances, it was an emotional, violent altercation that occurred.
Hoping someone may have witnessed the struggle, detectives begin knocking on neighbors' doors.
It's still before dawn, and most people say they were asleep. They didn't hear or see anything. But there is one woman who said that she left her bedroom window open and said that she was awakened by an argument.
She could hear an altercation that was clearly between a man and a woman.
I tried to ignore it.
But then she heard a woman scream.
At that point, that she got out of bed and she went to go look at her window to see what was going on.
But when she did that, she didn't see anything.
She waited for a moment, but she didn't hear anything else.
So she ignored it and went back to sleep.
But while she didn't see the fight that preceded the stabbing, there may still be a witness.
She has a Ring doorbell camera. It's right across the street, so there's a lot of potential for evidence off of that.
Man, would you mind if we got a copy of the footage from your doorbell camera?
Of course. Can I email it to you?
Yeah. You have a good morning.
Thank you.
After speaking with the neighbor, detectives return to the station.
They need to get statements from Danielle's friend Antonio, his sister, and Danielle's boyfriend, Rick.
The detectives start with Rick.
He's calmer than he was at the scene, but he is very emotional.
I know y'all got a lot of questions for me, but I got some questions too. I don't know what happened. My girl didn't nobody tell me nothing. As soon as I got to the scene, I freaked out. Okay. I just want to know what happened.
Rick is saying, I was just with her at 3 a.m.
That's just an hour before Antonio's 911 call.
I met her at the gas station on Atkinson and Keith.
Rick admits that things had been rocky between him and Danielle, so she had recently moved out.
According to Rick, it was only temporary.
She said she needed some space to get away from me for a while.
But he says that when they met up at the gas station earlier that morning, they'd gotten into a fight.
According to Rick, they got into an argument over money.
If you was to get my phone and get her phone, you would see it in all the safes.
He says she drained his bank account a few days ago.
How much money was that about?
It was about $600.
And that was like paycheck money?
Yeah, that's my paycheck money.
He was very upset. He wanted to talk to her and get his money back.
She know we got bills to pay.
According to Rick, that's why he'd asked her to meet him at the gas station.
But he said when she did, they soon fell into an argument.
It was like a heated moment because we were both trying to explain ourselves.
He was a little intoxicated. And according to Rick, when Danielle got there, he could tell that Danielle was a little intoxicated too.
I took her purse from her because she still had a bottle of liquor in her purse. I'm like, man, put this down. You don't need this.
This gets Danielle very angry.
Hey, it's fine.
And according to Rick, their heated argument had turned violent.
That was when she snagged me.
Detectives investigating Danielle Taylor's murder have learned that barely an hour before someone stabbed her to death, she had gotten into an explosive argument with her boyfriend, Rick Ramsey.
Rick says he was trying to wrestle Danielle's purse away from her to keep her from drinking anymore.
They get into a struggle and shouting match in front of the gas station.
He says she gave him a black eye.
Hey, it's fine.
Rick managed to keep the purse and take it to his car.
And Danielle stormed off.
He followed her and was able to catch up with her.
Come here. Where do you think you're going? Come here.
It's at this point that Danielle tries fighting him again, so they get into another altercation.
She had grabbed my face, boom. And then when she grabbed it, she pulled my dreads out.
He said he tried to defend himself, but she scratches his arm.
And he says that while they were fighting, a police car pulled up next to them.
They was coming east, and then they like, yeah, they put the little sirens on.
They came up and sort of broke it up.
What the hell's going on? No problem, officer.
I wasn't afraid to talk to officers. I didn't know. I know I didn't do nothing wrong.
Break it up and go home.
The policeman suggests that they both go their separate ways and call it a day.
And as far as the patrol officer was concerned, that's what happened with Rick and Danielle.
She walked that way, and I walked towards my car.
But Rick admits that after the police pulled off, he tried to follow Danielle.
I tried to hit the blocks to see if I could see her.
Rick did not want to let it go. He wanted to talk out this issue with Danielle.
But Rick says that after circling the area a couple times, he was unable to find her.
I didn't know where she went. So I said, yeah. And I went home.
Only he didn't stay there long.
I went upstairs to my room. I looked in my room, looked at my bed empty. So I'm like, yeah. I get in my car.
He decides he's going to go over to his sister's house.
And once he got there, he was greeted with horrific news.
His sister allegedly gets a call saying that Danielle has gotten into some sort of trouble and she has been stabbed.
I'm like, she can't be gone because I was just with her. Like, we was just talking.
Rick says that as soon as he heard that Danielle had been stabbed, he'd raced to Antonio's house.
I made all type of illegal turns into red lights just to get there.
He says he had no idea what happened to Danielle after she left the gas station.
But is he telling the truth?
Rick admitted that he went looking for Danielle after their argument.
And he went out of his way to explain his injuries. So could the altercation outside the gas station be a cover story?
You guys have had fights before?
We haven't had a fight in God knows how long. I say over a year and a half.
Hold on. So
Yeah.
danger, that's true.
Yeah.
And now detectives want to know, if Rick didn't kill Danielle, who did?
Do you think she's dating anybody else or seeing anybody else on the side?
It's possible.
There have been rumors spreading around that she was, in fact, in another relationship. She was cheating.
And Rick admits that was another reason he'd asked Danielle to meet him at the gas station early that morning.
Before, I was trying to get something out of her too, at the same time, which was the truth.
Right.
One of the motives for him going to see her was to see if there was any truth to these rumors.
And he wanted information as to what the status of their relationship was going to be.
She basically has left him. He does not want her to leave.
But according to Rick, that doesn't mean he had a motive for murder.
I know y'all trying to figure out if I killed my girl or not. But I did not kill my girl, man.
Despite Rick's protests of innocence, detectives decide to hold him in custody.
He's booked on disorderly conduct charges.
They take his clothes to see if there is any DNA evidence on his clothes that would connect him to the murder of Danielle Taylor.
Then the detectives move on to Danielle's friend, Antonio Sharp.
They want to get him into the interrogation room to get a formal statement from him.
He was the first individual to see her after the altercation.
Also, detectives suspect Antonio may be more than just Danielle's friend.
According to Rick, there had been rumors that Danielle had been hooking up with someone else.
Detectives wonder if he had found out that she left to meet with Rick.
And if so, had that made him angry?
When detectives sit down with Antonio, he doesn't appear angry.
He was obviously distraught and upset over the incident.
Can't believe this happened.
He says he wants to do whatever he can to find out who killed Danielle.
Okay, so how long have you known Danielle?
I've known her forever.
Antonio was a childhood friend of Miss Taylor.
So you're just friends?
Well,
He admits that he's always had feelings for Danielle.
But he says that over the years, they'd lost touch.
He recently got out of jail himself on a burglary charge.
I looked her up when I got out, where she was with somebody else.
Even though he's never met Rick, he knows that he's Danielle's long-term boyfriend. And he knows that they have 2 kids together.
But that hadn't stopped the old friends from reconnecting.
They were just friendly at first, but then he learned that she too had feelings for him.
I thought you knew.
Well, I know now.
And that's when their relationship turned sexual.
Were you worried that Rick would find out?
I was.
But according to Antonio, Danielle wasn't.
She told him that she was done with Rick.
She just wanted to get out.
Antonio Sharp, the man who called 911 and reported that Danielle Taylor had been stabbed, says the 26-year-old mother of 2 had been planning to leave her boyfriend, Rick Ramsey.
Antonio tells detectives that Danielle wanted to leave Rick for good.
What about Rick?
Antonio supposedly knows this because she had been dating him behind Rick's back.
However, Antonio claims that he wasn't the only reason Danielle wanted to leave Rick.
Antonio says that Rick beat her up regularly.
You ever see him hit her?
No, but that's what she said.
He said she kept complaining about Rick and the violence that was in the home.
Antonio claims that there have been times she has had bruises and marks.
So she'd left Rick and was staying with Antonio and his sister.
Antonio had been staying with his sister since he'd been released from jail.
But as detectives know, leaving an abusive relationship can be really scary.
Is that what happened in Danielle's case?
If he had found out that she was trying to move on, it would have pushed him over the edge.
Hoping to learn more, detectives ask Antonio to walk them through the events leading up to Danielle's murder.
He's saying that they were together that day.
They had a few friends over and had been drinking out on the porch.
Antonio says that once the party wound down at around 10 o'clock, he'd gone inside.
He ends up falling asleep on the couch.
Danielle woke him up sometime later.
Hey, Antonio.
What?
I'm about to go out for a little bit. Can we pick that up?
Okay.
Antonio says he fell back to sleep and didn't wake up until about 4 a.m.
He hears a knock at the door.
When he opened it, he was shocked to see Danielle standing there.
Danielle! Oh my God!
Her wig's gone and her face was splattered with blood.
She falls in his arms. He lays her down.
Dee, what happened?
That's when he noticed the stab above her chest.
Who did this to you?
He kept trying to ask who did this, but by this time, she was unresponsive.
Antonio says that by then, his sister had come into the room.
Get my phone, go get my phone. Dee, come on, say something.
He begins calling 911. He runs and gets a towel to try to stop the bleeding from the chest.
Here, put pressure on it. Hello, it's bad. It's real bad.
And then the police finally arrive.
On the surface, Antonio's story sounds genuine.
Antonio is crying and obviously in great distress.
Or could they be tears of guilt?
Detectives wonder if he had found out that she left to meet with Rick.
Maybe he was waiting up for her when she got back, and a confrontation ensued.
To see if they can verify Antonio's story, the detectives turn to his sister.
She confirms that she, Antonio, and Danielle have been drinking on the porch.
And she says that when she went to bed around 11, her brother was asleep on the couch.
Did you see or hear Danielle leave?
No. Next thing I heard was Antonio screaming downstairs, so I ran down there to see what was going on.
And when she got downstairs, Danielle was already collapsed on the floor, bleeding.
Did Danielle ever tell you that Rick was abusing her?
No, I knew he was.
She has had bruises and marks. It was hard not to notice.
And she swears that her brother could not have been the source of those bruises.
She says right off the bat, my brother had nothing to do with this murder. And there's no way with how much he cared about Danielle that he would have ever hurt her.
But while she was happy for her brother, she worried what Rick would do if he found out about Antonio's relationship with Danielle.
She thinks Rick found out about the new relationship from a mutual friend and wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to do something about it.
That's all we have for now. Appreciate you coming in.
Had Rick found out? And had he done something about it? Detectives suspect the truth lies in the surveillance video.
Hey, come take a look at this.
In addition to the neighbor's doorbell cam, the detectives also requested security footage from the gas station, where Danielle met with Rick.
Reviewing the footage appears to confirm Rick's story.
He was at that gas station where he did say that he met up with her before the homicide happened.
In the footage, it's clear the two are in a heated argument.
There's even footage of the police officer coming past and sending them in their separate directions.
After the officer leaves, they see that Rick follows Danielle and goes in the same direction. So far, it all fits with what Rick had told them.
According to Rick, he couldn't find Danielle, so he gave up and went home.
But when they review the doorbell camera footage from Danielle's neighbor, it tells a different story.
On the video, the detectives see Danielle walk up the street towards the house.
And not 1 minute after, we see a figure follow behind her.
Someone who detectives are pretty sure is Rick Ramsey.
That's what's called damning evidence.
Rick, what are you doing?
When questioned about the murder of his girlfriend, Danielle Taylor, Rick Ramsey has admitted that he had an altercation with the 26-year-old mother of two less than an hour before she was fatally stabbed.
The police had broken up the fight, and Rick said he went home afterwards.
But when they pull up the footage from the neighbor's house, it's obvious that he had been lying.
The video shows Danielle walking up to her friend Antonio's home. But it also reveals that someone is following her.
Someone who detectives are pretty sure is Rick Ramsey.
He has one hand behind his back, which leads police to suspect that he might be carrying something.
On the sidewalk in front of the house, Danielle and Rick have a brief confrontation.
Then they both disappear out of view.
Then, a few minutes later, Rick comes back into view.
Rick is walking away from the house and is no longer carrying anything.
After watching the video, detectives bring Rick back to the interrogation room.
At first, he sticks to his original story.
Everything that I'm seeing right now is what happened.
But then the detectives tell Rick that they have video that shows him following Danielle to Antonio's house.
How do you explain that? How do we explain video?
I don't know.
They do what we call becoming the Jesus moment.
It has little effect on Rick.
I really don't know where else to go. You don't remember it? It's your story, and it's yours. You can stick with it.
Then they haul Rick back to his cell. But after another 24 hours behind bars, Rick's story starts to change.
He's brought back into an interview room yet again.
He says, you know what? It is possible that I found her and that we did have another argument. I can't remember much because, remember, I was drunk.
Something come over me, like something get into me, and I'm like did I black out and do something?
You began to think about the consequences of your behaviors, and you began to try to develop some rationalizations.
Did the devil come into me and start controlling me like that for real? And then to get out of my head, I wanted to be found, man. I wanted to be found. I feel a lot better when it's found.
I guarantee it.
I feel a lot better when it's found.
As he's confronted with the counters to his lies, you're going to see acceptance.
My brain is rattling, man. Rattling. Because my girl gone, man. And she not coming back. And I want her to rest in peace. I want her family to have peace.
Now that they can finally get some of these things that they're holding in off of their chest, you almost become that priest that you come and make a confession to.
I gotta get it out. I gotta get it out. Jim. I killed my girl, Jim.
I know.
I killed my girl, man. I killed my girl.
I know.
He did say, I killed her, and then he finally got into the description of how it happened.
He admits that he did, in fact, follow her.
He ends up finding Miss Taylor at the residence where this happened.
Rick says he parked down the street.
Then he says he began searching through Danielle's purse.
Remember, he kept the purse after the police made them go in their separate directions.
He was looking for the knife he knew Danielle always carried with her for protection.
This was a kitchen knife.
He decides to take it with him when he goes to confront her.
Rick, what are you doing?
Is this where he lives?
Ooh.
Don't lie to me.
At some point, he says he grabbed her arm.
What happens next?
Then she swung at me. That's when I stabbed her.
He said the anger wasn't so much of her cheating, the anger was of her not providing him with the truth. There's still some struggle. He said arms are flaring around and all that. And then that's when he does the second stab.
Do you remember the knife breaking?
And he claims not to know what he did with the handle of the knife either.
Somewhere, different world.
Even after the stab, all he can remember is not being remorseful, but being angry.
After it, I remember being in the car.
Coupled with the video evidence, Rick's confession is all that the police need to secure a conviction.
Mr. Ramsey was charged with the reckless homicide of his girlfriend.
But Rick decides to retain a lawyer. And the lawyer immediately comes in with questions about this alleged confession.
These interrogation tactics are empirically known to be very effective at getting confessions, but they're also known to get false confessions.
And when detectives get the DNA results back from the crime lab, it appears that Rick's attorney may have a point.
A man's DNA was found under Danielle's fingernails, but it is not the DNA of Rick Ramsey.
It's also not a match for Danielle's lover, Antonio Sharp.
Which means that there is a possible third suspect out there.
With a taped confession and surveillance footage that appears to show him at the scene of the crime, police and prosecutors are confident that 30-year-old Rick Ramsey is responsible for Danielle Taylor's murder.
That would be consistent with what the evidence shows.
They believe that this is an open and shut case.
Until the DNA test results turn the entire case on its head.
The evidence found under Danielle's fingernails does not match Rick Ramsey. And it doesn't match Antonio Sharp.
The results match for a third man, someone they never heard of.
His name is Kenneth Arnold.
It just so happened that he was incarcerated on another charge.
So detectives are able to bring him in for questioning.
We want to show you some pictures of some people that you might know. Okay?
Sure, go ahead.
They start off by showing him Danielle's photo, but Kenneth insists that he's never seen her before.
Never ever seen her. Never.
The detectives know that's a lie.
We found evidence of your DNA. We're trying to give you an opportunity to explain because there might be a reasonable explanation.
Nonetheless, Kenneth insists that he has no idea how his DNA got there.
Your skin underneath her fingernails, like if she would scratch you.
That seems to ring a bell for Kenneth.
I've been having sex with girls around here.
Kenneth is known to be a little bit of a player.
It's kind of crazy. There's been a lot of sex partners.
Like a lot is like 5? 10?
Probably like 30.
30?
Yeah, 30 different.
He says it is entirely possible that Danielle was one of them.
Question is, had he done more than sleep with her?
Did you kill this woman?
No.
Did you stab her?
No.
Despite the presence of his DNA, detectives think he's telling the truth.
They have no other evidence. There's no other motive or direct connection to Kenneth.
And he doesn't appear on any of the surveillance videos.
But the fact that it's Kenneth's DNA under Danielle's fingernails does put the prosecutors in an awkward position. One the defense will no doubt try to exploit.
The obvious argument is if he was the murderer and they engaged in a struggle, the victim may have clawed at her assailant and got his DNA under her fingernails.
When Rick goes on trial for murder in September of 2022, the prosecutors begin by focusing on his motive.
He found out that she's cheating on him.
And on the night of the murder, he confronted her about it.
Is this where he lives? Ooh, don't lie to me.
He couldn't let her go.
He stabs her in the chest.
It was an emotional, violent altercation.
He stabbed her again, above her left temple.
And the prosecutors claim to have plenty of proof.
They presented the evidence of the fight earlier that day, which clearly occurred.
They show the surveillance video.
Most of all, they have Rick's confession.
You my girl, man.
But when it's the defense's turn, they do their best to cast doubt on that confession.
During the interview, law enforcement repeatedly tell him that they have a video of him committing the murder. That was a lie. Law enforcement did not have a clear video of anything. The next line of attack for the defense was to get an expert witness to talk about false confessions. We did have our expert witness talk about techniques employed by law enforcement, sleep deprivation, lying about certain evidence they have, and pushing an individual towards the narrative that law enforcement is trying to get from that interview.
But that's all just the lead up to the defense's main point. That Danielle had Kenneth Arnold's DNA under her fingernails when she died.
He told police he didn't know the victim, and then said, well, I may have slept with her, but I didn't know who she was. And nothing was followed up about that.
But the jury, with all the evidence, and especially the security footage, they just aren't buying it.
They find Rick guilty of murder.
He's sentenced to 30 years in prison.
If he completes his 30 years, he's still going to have another 12 years of probation, which means once he's out, he's still going to be monitored for 12 years.
Justice has been served. But that does little to lessen the tragedy of Danielle's death.
Because not only was there one life,
he was a dedicated coach and mentor.
He was passionate about coaching students in high school.
His players loved him. Dion, you know these plays.
He was a father figure to them.
But off the field, he was a player too.
He was dating multiple women.
I've always known him to be friendly with the ladies.
He's just having fun and loving life.
Until it came to a shocking end.
There's a foul odor coming out of the house.
He's been shot multiple times.
These kinds of crimes are passion-filled.
There was no denying it was rage.
He better watch his back.
And there is no shortage of suspects.
It was such an unveiling of secrets that came out.
His lifestyle didn't fit into the mold.
Couples wanted to meet other couples. They just wanted to have sexual experiences.
Perhaps we're dealing with a jealous husband.
I really liked him, Steve.
And a couple of weeks later, he did.
2016. For most of the country, September signals the start of fall. But in Houston, Texas, it's the beginning of something bigger. Football season.
Everything's bigger in Texas, but high school. Football, especially in Houston, is large. It's a large part of our community. Friday nights, when the lights go up, it brings out a culture that doesn't exist in other places.
Friday nights are something that people live for down here. It's a ritual. They just get together and watch the game together, and win or lose, there's a camaraderie about it that brings people together.
And when someone misses a game, people notice.
Oh, there you go, right there. What up? What's up, sis? Hey, what's up? Sorry I'm late, man. Y'all Kev here yet? Man, I ain't seen him.
So that Friday night, when Clear Lake Academy takes the field in their season opener, and Coach Kevin Roman is nowhere to be found, his friend Cedric is starting to worry.
Hit him up, see what's up.
Kevin was a beloved coach at Houston's Clear Lake Christian Academy.
Hey, yo, Kev, man, where you at?
He knew that his friend had gone out of town recently, but he had planned to be back.
He had like this weird feeling in his gut that something was wrong.
Kevin really loved Clear Lake Christian Academy. He was fully committed to everything that he was a part of there.
The students that he was coaching truly felt like they were a part of his family.
They're shocked. They just cannot believe that he's not right there front and center for them.
Hit me up, bro.
Cedric tries to reach Kevin multiple times, but never gets a response.
That's very odd. Usually they would have talked by now.
By the following day, there is still no word from Kevin.
So on Saturday night, he drove over to Kevin's house over in Sunnyside on the southeast end of Houston.
He goes to that house hoping that it's just all just big misunderstanding.
That appears to be the case when he arrives at Kevin's house.
There's no car in the driveway.
Maybe something had come up and Kevin was still out of town.
Still, he decides to knock on Kevin's door just to be sure.
He notices that something's wrong. The wooden front door is open, but the burglar bar looks closed. Something just doesn't feel right.
Hey, Kev, open up the door, man.
The burglar bar was locked.
He hears a TV going.
Oh.
That's when it hit him. He started to smell a foul smell that begins to turn his stomach.
I can only imagine the sinking feeling in his gut.
He knows something is extremely wrong.
Kevin Roman was one of the most popular football coaches in the Houston area.
His players loved him, his colleagues thought highly of him.
He's loved by his family. He's loved by his friends. He is a likable guy.
He took a lot of pride in his work. He took a lot of pride in his position in these boys' lives.
A Grambling State alum from Louisiana, Kevin had moved to Houston for a coaching job at Clear Lake Christian Academy.
We're gonna win. Right.
Kevin Roman is a guy with a strong foundation, a strong Christian foundation.
Yeah.
Kevin was the son of a preacher.
Godly principles was something he had been taught since he was just a baby and growing up. And so he, in turn, tried to give that back to those around him.
Let's bow our heads. Go into prayer.
Students he taught, the football players he coached, his friends.
In other words, Clear Lake Christian appeared to be a perfect fit.
Kevin was passionate about the Clear Lake community.
Clear Lake Christian embraced its youthful new coach, too.
In the communities that surround Houston, the coaches and the families all are unified as one big family. Oftentimes you find that the families look up to the coaches. They are bigger than life, almost like heroes.
A lot of people are looking at you and depend on you, but it is a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. Your position is very, very public.
With football in this community specifically, football coaches can easily become the local celebrities.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Miss Anderson.
How you doing?
Parents loved him. It was clear that they loved him.
It's nice to see you.
All right, it's nice to see you too.
And Kevin was just as popular off the field.
Kevin is a single guy. He's very involved on the dating scene. He enjoys dating multiple women, being involved in multiple relationships.
He has a lot of charisma. You know, he's a people person. He's a ladies' man.
Who's that, man?
His girl from the other night.
Oh, okay.
I actually got her number when she's walking down the street.
He's just having fun and enjoying himself and loving life.
But now, this beloved coach is missing, and his friend Cedric fears the worst.
Houston Fire and Medical, what is your emergency there?
I have a friend that I haven't heard from for a week. I came by. It looks like the door is propped open, and there's a foul odor coming out of the house.
Within minutes of the 911 call, Houston police arrive at Kevin's rental home.
When a call comes in to law enforcement from someone saying, something's not right, and I smell a foul odor coming from my friend's home, that's a priority.
They make forced entry.
Inside, they find the house in disarray.
There was packaged food lying around. There was empty bottles and trash that's strewn about.
However, despite the mess, It appears that the odor is coming from deeper in the house.
First responders traced it back to the master bedroom.
Sadly, they make the discovery.
They do find a body.
It's not just the love of the sport, it's the love of the people in the sport.
He really enjoyed being a part of the children's lives.
But now, after a worried 911 call, Houston police have discovered a decomposing body in Kevin's master bedroom.
The body was too decomposed for a positive identification. But since it appeared to be a black male, police believe that it was Kevin.
And it's obvious he didn't die of natural causes.
He's been shot multiple times.
There are bullet wounds around his neck. There's bullet wounds in his chest.
Officers also find 11 .45 caliber shell casings lying on the bedroom floor.
To be shot 11 times, right there indicates a passion killing.
There are also several neckties tied to the bed frame.
It seemed as if someone was tied up.
Are the detectives dealing with some sort of domestic drama?
It could have been someone that he was dating.
There was no forced entry. So that's an indicative of that he knew his killer.
Based on the evidence, detectives definitively rule out a robbery gone wrong.
They realize that very valuable electronics are still hanging on the wall. His wallet is still in plain view with almost $100 worth of cash.
The only things missing are Kevin's phone and his vehicle.
Did the person who did this steal the car?
That is a physical piece of evidence that we need to locate.
After issuing a be on the lookout for Kevin's missing Jeep, detectives ask his friend Cedric to come down to the station for a formal statement.
They want to know socially who he had relationships with.
Stress, right? Appreciate you coming down.
Cedric begins by explaining that he's known Kevin for a long time.
1997, we met playing high school football against one another.
He's one of those friends that you're going to touch base with every weekend.
Which was one of the main reasons Cedric has gone over to Kevin's house to check on him.
I imagine in a million years he never thought what he was about to walk in on.
Hoping to get to the bottom of what happened to Kevin, detectives start by asking Cedric about his friend's love life.
That's when Cedric explained that Coach Kevin was a player on and off the field.
I've always known him to have different relationships or sexual partners.
He was dating multiple women.
It appears that none of them were really his girlfriend.
However, Cedric insists that didn't make Kevin a bad guy.
I can honestly say that even the girls he was just sleeping with, he still had a level of compassion and concern.
In fact, Cedric says that Kevin was always upfront with the women he was dating.
Kevin was very transparent to the people that he was with. He told them that he was talking to multiple people.
Detectives had to consider whether the women that Kevin was seeing were casual and easygoing about relationship as he was.
Some, women get more attached than maybe you want them to be.
If Kevin was a player, perhaps we're dealing with a jealous girlfriend.
It opens it up to a point where maybe one of these women wanted something more or that he didn't want to give. Or
he never complained about any young lady.
Additionally, Cedric says that he doesn't know much at all about the various women Kevin had been seeing.
Mostly just our conversations for, hey, I was out last night and I met this girl, never really in detail.
He says the most recent exploit Kevin shared with him was typical of their exchanges.
He was just driving around the neighborhood, driving home. And he saw a young lady walking. It just seemed like, I guess she shouldn't be in the neighborhood. And so he stopped and had a conversation with this particular person. And this young lady came by his home, either that night or the next night, but he never mentioned A name.
He said Kevin rarely named names.
My name's Kevin, by the way.
In fact, the only thing he really knows about her isn't exactly helpful for detectives.
Kevin mentioned her as having a big booty.
That was Kevin, so I didn't think anything out of the ordinary.
While Cedric offers detectives considerable insight into Kevin's life, it doesn't bring them much closer to finding his killer.
There was multiple people. It could have been.
Kind of sees a lot of different women.
Yes, sir.
Which is fine, it's a lifestyle.
But Cedric reveals the bachelor life wasn't the only lifestyle he was living.
A year back, he actually invited me to this Facebook group. People were setting up parties and meetings with one another.
The sort of meetings and parties that are at secretive hotels and clubs.
It was a swingers party.
Football coach was also involved in Houston's swinging community.
There was a Facebook page set up with all the people that were having these different types of parties.
So in this Facebook group, the primary purpose of the most part is to set up sexual engagements with them.
Sexual engagement parties, people just wanting to have sexual experiences with other people, that kind of thing.
So he had multiple people that he was talking with.
It could be couples to couples, it could be singles to singles,
Yes, sir.
singles to couples.
Yes, sir.
Just no real rule set or anything, just kind of anything goes.
Not that I knew of.
All Cedric knows for sure is that very few people in Kevin's life knew about his foray into the swinging world.
When it comes to sexual alternative lifestyle, quietness and discreetness is very important.
Kevin was a beloved coach at a Christian academy, so he had even more reason to be discreet.
His lifestyle didn't fit into the mold of what was expected.
After talking to Cedric, the detectives delve into the shadowy online world of Houston's swinging community.
Investigators try to figure out, whether or not there was a lead there.
Finding one would take time. There are lots of different groups, and most users go by pseudonyms.
Detectives also follow up on their one solid lead, Kevin's missing Jeep.
They contacted the dealership in which Kevin Roman purchased his Jeep from, and the dealership let him know, hey, we're able to track it because there should be a GPS device on it.
In most of these cases, GPS trackers are used for repossessions.
They want to get their car back, too, so they have a vested interest.
Just get it to me as soon as you can.
In assisting in this investigation.
The GPS data shows that Kevin's Jeep was parked at his house until the morning of September 4th.
But on the morning of September 5th, it pinged at another location. It's about 10 minutes from Kevin's house.
In the days after his death, it's given the same location.
Using the GPS information from the tracking device, detectives locate Kevin's Jeep.
It's been abandoned in a parking lot several miles from Kevin's house.
They found some of his stuff inside, and they found his cell phone.
The phone has been smashed and the battery removed.
There had to have been some information that was stored or that was inside the phone that the person wanted concealed.
Could there be incriminating text messages or photos between Kevin and his killer?
Maybe Kevin bumped into somebody at a swingers party that he knew from real life.
Clear Lake is a very small, tight-knit community. Most people know each other, or their children have gone to school with one another. And being a part of a swingers community, it raised a lot of red flags.
Hoping for answers, detectives send the cell phone off to the lab.
Despite the condition of the phone, there's a chance that computer forensics can reconstruct some of the data.
But while they're waiting, the detectives get a call from Kevin's landlord.
What he tells them introduces a new level of the investigation.
Kevin is about 3 months behind on his rent.
The landlord wanted the detectives to release the apartment so he could rent it out again and recoup some of the money.
He also explains why Kevin was short of cash.
Kevin had recently lost his position at Clear Lake Christian after a new coach was hired.
Unfortunately, due to the politics of football, once a new head coach came in, he decided that he wanted to pretty much clean house, and he let Kevin Roman go.
He's had to take a job that he's not getting paid as much as he was.
That put him in a bind financially.
Could Kevin's money troubles have something to do with his death?
Maybe this is not a jealous lover at all. Maybe this is somebody who's upset about their money that Kevin may have owed them.
The theory sounds even more plausible after another friend of Kevin's reaches out to detectives.
He told detectives that Kevin owed one of his old girlfriends money.
Her name is Nikita Woodson.
Nikita Woodson has gone to social media about how upset she is about the amount of money that Kevin owes her.
And when Kevin's friend sits down with detectives, he says she was looking to collect.
He said he was at Kevin's house one night alone when Nikita showed up.
Tell Kevin to come in.
He's not here.
She came over there and talked about where Kevin at, where Kevin at, where Kevin at. He owed me some money, he owed me some money. I'm like, I don't know where you at.
He said he called Kevin and told him that Nikita was looking for him.
He didn't want to talk to her.
And according to Kevin's friend, that had only made Nikita angrier.
Y'all want to talk to me?
She was angry. And kind of looked like, if I have to say it was more threatening than anything.
He better watch his back.
She gonna get the rest of her money somehow.
She decided to post some social media statuses about him owing her money.
And a couple of weeks later, he did.
Have learned that one of the coach's many ex-girlfriends had made threats against him.
He better watch his back.
She's upset because Kevin Roman owes her money.
Kevin was let go from the teaching job, so he was really struggling.
Not that it mattered to Nikita.
She probably loaned him money thinking that she was going to get it back. So hoping to embarrass him, she decided to post some social media statuses about him owing her money.
She made a post about the situation. What would you do about somebody that owe you money? She even called him out on it.
Kevin's friend has receipts too.
I could just show you her Facebook page.
She's made several posts about how upset she is about the amount of money that Kevin owes her.
What's even more interesting for detectives is that Kevin's friend can only show them screenshots of Nikita's posts.
Once news got around that Kevin was dead, Nikita had apparently deleted all her angry posts about him.
So now they're wondering, is she just trying to cover her tracks?
She was a key person to look at.
Okay. Thanks for coming in. Yeah. Show you out.
But when detectives attempt to locate Nikita, it turns out they don't have to go far to find her.
She was in jail when the murder most likely occurred.
Police confirmed that she was in jail on a probation violation.
She could not have possibly been the person that did this.
In the days and weeks that follow, detectives chase down every lead they possibly can.
This included going through Kevin's social media.
They wanted to find out who was connected to him or who he was seeing romantically.
Still got Kevin's Facebook page up. I would like you to take a look at it. All right?
Then detectives circle back with Kevin's friends.
At this point, we've been building a lot of profiles to try and get who people are. Many of these people look familiar.
She did look familiar, but I don't remember her name.
Unfortunately, because of the private lifestyle that Kevin had, a lot of people use anonymous type profiles.
All the leads that investigators had, they had worked as much as they could.
But all of those leads bring detectives to a dead end. And 3 years pass as Kevin's case goes cold.
Kevin's family likely went through a gut-wrenching couple of years to not have enough evidence to figure out who it was. It's almost like a gap, and you can't fill it.
And Kevin's family aren't the only ones suffering.
You also have the students that he made an impact on.
They were fighting for justice for him the way he fought for them on the field.
With each passing year, the hope that Kevin's killer would eventually be caught begins to fade.
Something like this will happen in a community, and then people tend to forget about things.
But the Houston police haven't given up on finding Kevin's killer.
They have protocols in place. You don't just get to shelve that case. They also have what's called cold case units that look at old cases.
In July of 2019, the cold case unit reopens the Kevin Roman murder file.
So now we've got a fresh pair of eyes that are looking at this case.
The first thing of interest to the new detective is the demolished phone found in Kevin's Jeep.
They thought with advancements in technology, something could be recovered. But in the meantime, they pulled the phone records.
They crushed the phone, so clearly anything linked to the phone should be investigated.
Sifting through Kevin's phone records, the cold case detective spots something intriguing.
There's a pattern in this one phone number that stopped calling him on the day that he died.
All of Kevin's other friends were still reaching out.
Does the person behind the mystery number know something the rest of Kevin's friends don't?
Why call a dead man?
Okay.
When the detective runs the number, it comes back to a woman named LaQuinta Johnson and her brother, Derek Brown.
They had one line that they shared. Both of their names were on it.
The brother and sister also shared an apartment.
And you'll never guess where.
Derek Brown and his sister, LaQuinta, live directly across the street from where the Jeep was abandoned.
Now, if you're a detective, your heart's racing. This is a lead, this is the hunt.
Ace believes he has identified 2 potential suspects in the murder of the beloved football coach.
There is somebody constantly calling Kevin and vice versa. And suddenly, from about the time that they believed Kevin was murdered, there's no communication at all.
The number that had suddenly stopped calling belongs to LaQuinta Johnson and her brother, Derek Brown.
They lived across the street from where the car was found.
So now the detective is thinking, did Kevin have a relationship with LaQuinta?
Or was Derek possibly the connection? Hoping to learn more, the detective runs background checks on the siblings.
When you look up both names, one person has a criminal record, Derek.
It was mostly petty stuff, nothing that screamed hardened killer.
But there is one seemingly minor incident on Derek's rap sheet that raises a red flag. A routine traffic stop on September 12th, 2016.
That's 2 days after they find Kevin's body.
There was a weapon in the car.
It was a .45 caliber handgun.
It's the same type of weapon that killed Kevin.
He was thrown in jail for unlawfully carrying of a weapon.
He's a convicted felon and can't legally own the gun.
However, the gun charges were eventually dropped.
His girlfriend claims that that is her gun, and so he is released.
But the gun was still sitting in the department's evidence room.
Suspecting they've had the murder weapon this entire time, the detective retrieves the gun and sends it to the crime lab.
Through ballistics, they had ascertained that that gun matched up with the bullets found at the crime scene.
Sure enough, it is actually the gun that killed Kevin.
But does that mean Derek killed Kevin?
Just because he had the gun in his car does not automatically mean he did it.
Or could it be LaQuinta? Police have reason to believe that's the case when they receive the result of the crime lab's forensic work on Kevin's phone.
The attempt had been made to smash it, but they were able to still get inside the phone.
The detective finds the number Derek and LaQuinta shared listed in the contacts.
There was no name, just cue big booty, she was walking home.
Could LaQuinta be the same woman that Kevin told his friend Cedric about shortly before the murder?
This was early August. He was just driving around the neighborhood and he saw a young lady walking.
He noted that she had a big booty.
The information recovered from Kevin's phone also reveals that he and LaQuinta started talking around August 12, 2016.
They're able to find numerous exchanges between her and Kevin.
You got 2 texts, bro. This girl from the other night. I actually got her number when she was walking down the street.
The flirty messages suggested a sexual relationship.
Then, on September 1st, came a sudden flurry of text messages from LaQuinta to Kevin.
She was just furious.
She accused him of cheating on her.
Kevin tried his best to calm LaQuinta down.
He asked her to come over on September the 3rd of 2016.
And sometime within the next few hours, he was dead.
Based on when Kevin went silent, the detectives suspect that the murder occurred in the early morning hours of September 4th.
The puzzle pieces begin to fall into place.
Although when the detective subpoenas LaQuinta's phone records, there's a piece missing.
They see that her phone was actually turned off on September the 3rd. And then on September the 4th, her phone is turned back on.
The first ping when her phone turned back on was at 6:01 a.m. on September 4, 2016.
The tower her phone connects to is near her apartment,
which also happens to be near where police found Kevin's Jeep.
The first call she makes after that is to another number registered to her brother, who was later arrested with the murder weapon in his car.
So this shows some unusual behavior.
Digging deeper, the detective learns that LaQuinta also received several calls from her brother while he was in jail on the weapons charge.
This was after the traffic stop where, although they did not know it at the time, police located the murder weapon.
Well, the police pulled the phone records.
When you're inside of a police building or in the county jail, all of your activities are seen, all of your phone calls recorded.
Hello?
And what the tapes reveal is damning.
I thought you were going to get rid of it.
I can't trace it back to him. He's telling her, don't worry about it.
But they're going to come after you for it.
Investigating the murder of beloved high school football coach Kevin Roman has uncovered a series of potentially incriminating jailhouse phone calls between LaQuinta Johnson and her brother, Derek Brown.
The calls occurred when Derek was in jail, after officers found the .45 caliber handgun in his possession during a traffic stop.
He was caught with the murder weapon.
But does that mean he was Kevin's killer?
I told you what to do with it.
After listening to Derek's conversation with LaQuinta, the detective isn't so sure.
What is she saying? I can't let you do time for me. And other indications implying that perhaps she is the killer and not her brother.
I'll tell you after you're done. Get up. Your hands up. Sorry.
Why is y'all arresting me, sir?
Based on the evidence in the tapes, Houston police take LaQuinta into custody and bring her in for questioning.
They get what's called a probable cause warrant.
She started out trying to minimize her relationship with Kevin.
Did you ever go out with a guy named Kevin Roman?
Kevin? Yeah, that name does sound familiar, though.
Okay. If I show you a picture, maybe it'll help refresh your memory. This guy?
Yes. We dated, not nothing serious.
Fed up with LaQuinta's stonewalling, the detective cuts to the chase.
All I know is you're involved with Kevin up until September 4th, and then you never called him. And you're at his place, and then you leave that morning. And his car ends up parked at the complex across the street from where you were living at the time. And your brother shows up with the gun that killed him. There's got to be an explanation for that, LaQuinta.
Because it looked like, her brother is going to go down for this.
That's all it takes for LaQuinta to crack.
Just leave my brother out of this because he did not have nothing to do with it. He never gave me no gun. None of that.
Then what happened?
I'm telling you what happened, sir. He didn't have nothing to do with it.
She didn't want to feel guilty about her brother going down for something that she did.
You did?
I did it. I did it, sir.
She begins to confess, to tell him this is what really happened.
LaQuinta admits to meeting up with Kevin the night of September 4th, 2016.
They went out, they went back to his house, and they had sex.
But then, after Kevin had fallen asleep, she decided to do a little snooping.
I went through the phone.
Okay.
I got drugs. I like to use sweeter drugs.
She apparently had feelings for Kevin Roman that he was not returning.
She wanted to be in a relationship with a man who didn't want to be in a monogamous relationship with her.
It's not fair play.
She was experiencing a lot of intense emotions. Things like rage, anger, extreme sadness, frustration.
According to LaQuinta, all those emotions took over on the night of the murder.
And that gun was not in Kevin's house, that was yours?
I brought it with me. Like I always carry it with me.
And that night, she used it.
I stood over him and shot him in the head.
Her act was impulsive. The shooting of him was very impulsive, and it is congruent with someone who doesn't have emotional regulation.
Before the detectives book her into the jail on murder charges, LaQuinta records a video for her brother.
Whatever you have to do, you tell them, you testify against me, you didn't know nothing about it. You didn't have anything to do with it. I did everything myself. I'm sorry, bro, for even putting you in this. I love you.
Exonerated by his sister's confession, Derek Brown faces no charges related to Kevin's death.
Investigators chose not to go down the road of charging Derek Brown with tampering with evidence, and he could have been very much so liable for that. But in the grand scheme of things, more than likely the investigators looked at, we have the murder, we got the confession.
In December of 2021, more than 5 years after the murder of Kevin Roman, LaQuinta Johnson pleads guilty to murder.
By doing a plea deal, it saves the state a lot of money. It saves a lot of time, a lot of effort. It also guarantees that that person will be convicted.
She is sentenced to 45 years.
She will more than likely end up dying behind bars.
I believe justice was served. But justice is a tricky thing to pin down. It is very subjective. what one person thinks is justice is not for the next person.
Even with people saying, well, it should be a life for a life, even then, it doesn't feel like enough, because what really is going on is a condition of the heart. It's the condition of love and missing someone.
I need you. This team needs you, all right?
People lost a good friend, a coach, a family member.
I need you guys on the team.
And there's not anything that is tangible that can ever replace a human's life, right? There's no amount of money, there's no amount of time. It's literally just a